Okay, guys and girls, this is me. I'm still in my pajamas, so don't mind me. This is the Futura program, and I got cardstock. First thing I did was I went online and I looked up greeting cards, and that's the one that I chose, and I saved it as a JPEG. I could have picked from millions of different designs on here to be my inside design, but I already chose which one I wanted. That one would have been a cute one too. There's millions of them on there, and all I did was I'll do it with this one really quickly. I open a new tab. Oops, that didn't work. Let's try this again. Open a new tab. See, sometimes it'll open up as the picture, and sometimes it won't. I'm going to try it one more time. Just clicking on it and seeing if it'll. There we go. Now, once you're there, just clicking on it, go to full size image. Nope. Hit the back button. Sometimes if you click on full size image, it will actually open it up into a larger image, which is better to save. The larger the image is to save, the better it is to see. If I go full size image, that's still small. I'm going to show you one that will get bigger. Let's go to this one. Now click on that. Full size image. See, and the thing is you just have to test each one. I could just save that just the way it was. Oops. Or let's just say this one. Full size image. And it's actually smaller. That's actually an embroidered image also. It actually brought me to an embroidery site, sewing site. But that's how I basically saved my images. I basically just went and found something and I saved it, and then I reopened it into Paint, turned it on its side, and resaved it as a JPEG, and then I opened it up into one of my programs, printing programs, and what I do is I actually have it at 4.75 by 5, but I didn't adjust the size there. What I did is I went in here, advance, normal, and custom fitting. I went by the 5 by 7 landscape, and then I just took it and I moved it up to the top. That way it's on this end of the card, because my card's going to be folded in half this way. That's on the inside. On the back side of this will be the embroidery design. So all I did was I put 10 in here, and I printed out 10 copies of it. So I have that portion of the design already done, and it's all printed out, so I can write whatever I want in there. And then I chose my design for the top of my card, and I maxed it as far as I could on the change size. I put 7.75 for the height. I think that's like the maximum. It might be able to go a little bit bigger, but I just clicked OK and kept it there. And I have that all set to send to the thing. Now I'm going to show you how to prepare your cardstock. Sorry, I'm moving you around here. Okay. Don't mind me. I'm a little bit messy and I might be in your way. So, I'm going to try to do this where you can see what I'm doing. Okay. And I got a good view right on the center block here to show you everything that I'm doing. Okay, I have a tool here. It's basically for your teeth. I don't use it for my teeth. What I do use it for is for arts and crafts. And one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my paper so it's nice and square on the lines. And then I am going, oops, doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it's as long as it's close. You're probably not going to be able to see that. I'm going to turn around to the other side so you can see what I'm doing. I'm lining this ruler up against this line here, and I'm leaving just a hair of a gap. So I'm not going to take the sharp edge, I'm taking the rounded edge. You want something that's rounded that won't leave a mark like pencils and stuff. And you just want to score that. You don't want to cut it, you just want to score it. And I scored it, and the paper is actually bigger than what I need. So, and I want to cut mine down so it actually fits into my hoop. Now my hoop, I already put a stabilizer in it, which it's all there, so I want that to fit in here. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to cut this edge off. And I want to get it as straight as possible, so I'm going to move this edge that I know straight up to the thing. And then I'm going to take this and I am going to take it right there and there and cut that off nice and straight. Now it's even. Now I already know what size I want my cardstock, so I'm going to bring it up to the edge of the thing, or I can just bring it up to an edge here. And I want to cut off 3/4 of an inch on one side and then 3/4 of an inch on the other side. I'm going to move this so you can see. This is my markings down here. Put this over here against the line. I want 3/4 of an inch cut off. That would be 3/4. That's a 1/2 inch already, and then another 1/4 inch. And I will line up my lines from that line there and that line there. Tells me that it's lined up. And then I just cut off my 3/4, turn it around, and I want to cut off 3/4 on this end. And this end is going to be right on that line to cut off 3/4. And that's done. Now, I already put this on my machine and I did trace design. What that does is it pokes a hole in the embroidery stabilizer to tell you where the design is going to be laid out. Now these are straight, so I'm just going to take these pieces of paper. I can see a dot right there and a dot right there. So I'm going to take this piece of paper and line up those dots, and I am going to take my pencil and just go from dot to dot. Then I see another dot there and that dot there. I'm going to take my piece of paper again, line up my dots. And I'm going to do this all the way around until I have all of my dots connected. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be so you know where your design is going to be. my hoop on my machine is off-centered a little bit. It has more up here than it does down here. Now this fits in here perfectly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my spray adhesive and I'm just going to spray adhesive right in the center. Now I know this is the inside of my card. This is what I want to be embroidering on, so that means I want to go this way. Now the best way to do this is I want to make sure that is centered, so I have an inch in the back, an inch and an inch, and I press it down. And that's where my design's going to be. Now if you look from the back side, you can tell that it's pretty well in there. It might be a little bit crooked. If it's a little bit crooked, you can peel it up, because it's not that sticky, and you can reattach it again. And right there. Now it looks pretty well even on all sides. So I'm just going to leave that right there, and I'm ready to go. And it's going to stitch out on the top of here. So that's basically it. Once it's stitched out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhoop it. I will cut off the stabilizer, and then I can either take a piece of cardstock and glue it onto the thread part. Take a cardstock that's cut a little bit bigger than the square and glue it down, or I can take a piece of fabric and use the fancy scissors to make the fancy little edges on and glue that down. And what I usually do is, if I'm going to be gluing fabric or cardstock, is I use one piece of cardstock so I can do the edges really, really well without getting glue all over stuff. And I'll just spin it and I'll glue on the edges, and then I'll do the in the middle, and then I will put it down. On the other one that I did, that is done, if I can find it, what did I do with it? I ended up gluing cardstock on it, but then I didn't like the way the cardstock looked on it when I was done, so I redid it and I glued fabric on it, and it actually came out fairly nice. You have a nice design with a nice Christmas fabric, and you can just write Merry Christmas. It has Merry Christmas, and just sign your names on it, and that's your cardstock. Hopefully this video has helped.